Okay.
Okay, we'll call our meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Do we have any additions, deletions to the agenda? Okay, the agenda stand is ready. Everybody get a chance to read the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Support.
For.
For
Okay,
Bill,
Yes.
you're good?
you're good, everybody's good on that, all right. Financial report number 1, huh? Fund balance report?
Our beginning cash balance is, excuse me, $600,083.74. Our deposits, we had a regular deposit. Majority of those, if you see that it's a large deposit, were some township monies for projects. And the other larger one was our MTF, but it is down a lot. And the total deposits are $776,989.01. Our charges are normal for $260,452.89, and our ending cash balance is $1,116,619.86. Do you have any questions on any of that?
Anybody got any questions? No questions? Okay, we'll go to accounts approval. Approval for the payable accounts. Number 2.
It was a big one.
I have a question on one of them. What does that TWAW estate mean?
Okay, so now we do normal maintenance on the state that gets billed monthly. Our state person, Jason, can come in and ask us to do a non-maintenance job. It's billed through us. We don't do any work. It's their job. We just do the paperwork, and we make 8.5%.
I wasn't familiar with that TWAW thing, so.
Yeah.
Well, I needed to find out about that too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, the
that's
job
good.
was 23,000, and we're gonna make 8.5% on as overhead.
Just an add-on to the regular state contract, basically, is what it is.
It's in addition to.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
And the laptops on there, Kim, are those the guys' laptops that they were getting for the, is that what it was, right?
Yeah, the
Okay.
new ones, yeah.
Okay. Are those working well now?
Yes.
From my understanding,
good.
it's going
Are they
great.
liking them then? Good.
Yeah.
They like them fine.
Okay.
Yes, and I believe one is hooked up in a truck already, and the other one is waiting to get hooked up in
Yeah,
a
that's what I
Bruce's truck.
understand.
Oh, good.
Mhm.
Everybody good on the bills?
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
I'll second it.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep, yep.
pay the bills.
Did you say yes, no?
Yes.
Yes. Public comment? You're next. You're next.
Girls.
You're the girl.
Okay, Val Kuziak, Mostetler Road, thank you so much for all your hard work.
Thank you.
Wow.
Now that's, you can come back again.
I might come armed next time, cause we just feel that maybe the other townships
Yeah,
do not, some of our seniors can't get out, and we have a tendency to make it out here, so we thought if we hear of any problems, we'll bring them to
that's
you.
right. Good, good.
So thank you.
Next. Yes, ma'am.
Levon Mahar, Mont Stetler Road,
Yes, you
and
are.
I want to thank you guys for going the extra. I've been up here coming on over 4 years, and it's the nicest the road's ever been.
Good.
And I've had visitors come through and they go, what happened? And
Long time.
we're still going to Lansing on our gravel issue in this state. We're still supporting Gravelgate for Michigan. All 83 counties have been affected.
Yeah.
We don't need bullies. We need non-renewable resource responsibilities. We're not letting up on that, just so you know, guys.
Well, I don't blame you, that's good.
Because you know what, we don't need a monopoly in this state. We need all our gravel pit owners to be treated equally. So thank you for your help.
Well, you're doing a good job, thank you.
Thank you.
Old and continuing business, number 1, Surrey Road, Sheridan Township.
The guys are working on that, this week, probably be about halfway done after today. So, that should be done in the by next week, I'd say. We
Good.
should be closing that project out,
Okay. So you're up right on top of that,
so.
huh?
Yep.
Number 2,
Mosteller, that's just part of that Eagle grant we submitted for in July.
Oh, yeah.
So we haven't heard anything back on the grant yet.
Still.
So,
done.
yep.
All right, now we'll go to Nardi on Hobbs and Black Architects. Okay, number 3. You're up.
You see, we need the technology to work. Well, while Dwayne's working on that, I'll give you a little background on Hobbs and Black and myself,
Yeah.
especially. So Hobbs and Black was founded in 1965. Our main office is in Ann Arbor. We have an office in Lansing and one in Arizona. And I haven't been to the Arizona office yet, so I don't think I want to go there right now. Not right now, no. Maybe someday to go golf in the winter.
I don't blame you.
But so our Lansing office is the office that does a lot of our municipal work. And for me personally, as an architect, I probably have done about 20 of these types of facilities, which would be like road commission facilities, DPW facilities, things like that.
Yeah.
Yes, I have. And currently we are working with Gladwin County Road Commission, just down the road. We went in and did a facility assessment for them and came up with a program for a new shop in their admin building. And so they're doing that addition to their vehicle parking garage right now. And we worked with them with the USDA. So they secured a loan to the USDA to do that project. And we're currently working with Kalkaska. I was just out there last week. This is a facility condition assessment report that we are doing for them, and some master planning. So they're in much tougher shape than you are here. I've already walked through your facility with Dwayne, and a lot of the road commissions out there are built in the 40s and 50s, and they kind of seem to be like on a 50 to 75 year cycle to replace their facilities, and so that the board uses this as a tool to understand the condition and life expectancy and the monetary investment they need to make some renovations, bring them up to code, and usually when they call me, they understand that they're out of space or they have a need, and so this report helps support and the board's decision on usually on how they're going to do something. Yeah. And it's really kind of a master plan, so it gives you a roadmap on what to do and how to implement it over time. So, but right now, Kalkaska is looking at doing something with a salt barn up there. Right now, they got like a 200-ton salt barn, which is about falling down.
Probably old.
Oh, it's old, but it's only about as big as this room.
Yeah.
You know, and it's about falling down. So they're going to do about a 3,600-ton salt barn, concrete salt barn, and that was quite a process. Usually, my reports aren't quite as thick as this. But there's a lot going on that site up there. They have underground pipelines for crude oil and gas. They're next to the airport, so I had to deal with the FAA and MDOT Tall Structures Division and go through an approval process with them to even see if we could build anything on their site. So
I imagine that took time, didn't it, to get all that?
it does, because nobody's working in the office either, on
These days.
the federal level or the state level. Everybody's working from home, so it takes a long time, especially they used the wrong GPS coordinates I gave them. So they came back with a finding that wasn't right for the location that we wanted. So we had to go through the process again. But thankfully, I got them to waive the fees for that. So I don't know, think it's working? Not working yet. Okay. So I think part of what we do, I can just talk about the facility assessment piece. And what we look at, what I like to do with these is we have a like a kickoff meeting with Dwayne and some key staff, just to get an understanding of what they feel their needs are. And then we do a walkthrough with myself, structural engineer.
You load everything and then.
Yep, mechanical, electrical engineers, a civil engineer if we need one. And we do research on the site, so we're looking for monitoring wells, any sort of environmental issues that you've had, and documentation for that. We look up zoning ordinance requirements and things like that. If you don't have a survey, like a real survey of your site, we would ask that you get a survey done, a topographic survey and a boundary survey, so we understand exactly what your site is, what it contains. A sample of Kalkaska, their property goes to about 20 feet to the runway. They didn't even know that. Neither did the airport.
Yeah.
So you kind of discover some things sometimes through this process that kind of clarifies your situation. But also, it helps you understand, like, if you are looking at master planning your site out for any sort of future development, because what we find, when I've been to, like I said, a dozen or more of these road commissions, is that over time, they were built in the 40s and the 50s, and then they need a salt barn, and then they need a cold storage building, and then another cold storage building. And they just kind of put them, plop them around without much plan, and then it comes time to redo their main building or something like that, like a larger project, and they run out of room. And one of the things that we like to look at is, if you're gonna do a project, it doesn't always have to be a new main facility, but to master plan the site out and try to approach it in a way that allows you to maintain the operations while you would build a new facility like Kalkaska is doing. We did that at Allegan, Washtenaw Road Commission, so. Gladwin was another deal. They had to move out into some double wide trailers and shift their maintenance into the vehicle parking garage. So I guess the outcome would be a document similar to this.
That's what we wanna know.
Yep, and some of the things that will be in here too would be the outcome. It might be some sort of a project that you might be a need, or whether it's renovation costs for that, but you'll be given budget information. So, it's hard to see, but so this is like a budget that I would have in this report. It's a total project budget, so it lists all known costs to execute the project, so there's no surprises. So it would include not only the cost to do a project, but the general contractor's cost, architect engineer's cost, any surveying costs, testing costs, plan review costs, furniture, equipment. So then you can do some proper financial planning if you're going to try to move forward with something. And if we think that the project may be something that is like a future project in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, we would build in inflation into the number for that.
When he was here, talking with Dwayne a couple weeks maybe, I'm not sure when that was when you were here, I had asked the question of, let's just pretend we were gonna knock every single thing down that we had here and start all over. It's just being a pessimist.
Well, yeah.
And could every single fee be added into a low interest USDA loan? And his answer was,
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, how about a grant?
I'm not aware of any grants out there to support like a project.
Yeah.
Yeah, for construction costs or anything like that. I do know that the USDA loan was, it's up now, but the USDA loan was at like 2.375%. Now I heard the interest rates ticked down. What do you know what they are right now, or?
I thought they were 3 at one time, but
Well,
that's even better.
2.375 right now. I think they just ticked down again. I had to call my contact at the USDA. She's out of the West Branch office. She's doing the Gladwin project. I'm not sure she would be your rep or point of contact. It might be somebody out of Traverse City for this office, I'm not sure. Or Grand Rapids.
Can we define what exactly our needs are? Can we define those? And what are they?
Well, that would be the
Initially, I
process that we
started
would
with the
go
wash
through.
bay
Yeah.
thought, and then the lean-to for our spare equipment, not being outdoors all winter.
Right, the lean-to and the wash bay, yeah.
Wash bay, and then, an office for our foreman and superintendent, shop foreman, where they can all have.
In their
and
own
then- yeah,
space, their own
right.
space there.
So that was the initial thought, and then, but, his walkthrough might.
Well, and then.
So that's why he brought you in for.
Yeah, like, there's some things with this building, you walk into the men's bathroom, it doesn't meet your current barrier-free accessibility requirements. So really, there should be something that you should look at upgrading or figuring out how to upgrade so it meets the ADA compliance. So that's one thing, that's an easy one that I saw just walking into the building. You have done some things like the LED lighting retrofits
we've done
and
quite a lot.
re-roofing the building. I mean, really, this building, to me, I'd say has good bones, right? I mean, it's not falling down, like some of these other facilities
this
are
is-
just ready to be condemned.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I think that, I walked into the parts room, that was pretty small for what you're doing operationally here. You can't keep adding on to your vehicle parking garage because you don't have a fire suppression system. You are limited to 12,000 square feet with these types of facilities.
Yeah.
Then you have to have a 2-hour firewall, boom. And that really, we looked at that with Clare County Transit. And if you've ever been up in there in their vehicle parking garage, the thing is almost, probably 380 feet long.
and then.
Well, if you put 2 firewalls in there, it really screws up the parking and then you have to make the building longer yet to make up for the odd parking spaces you kinda get in that space. So what we did is we put in a firewall in the fire suppression system of the building.
That was discussed with our, insurance about the year that, Steve Grizz was leaving, 1 year prior to him leaving.
Yeah,
Marty, do you have anything to do with the project going on at Isabella County? Is your firm handling that
No.
expansion?
I did all of the master planning. I did the facility audit and the master planning for that, and they hired somebody else.
Okay.
They hired the wrong architect.
After all
But-
That's not good.
So,
Okay, so the assessment and the walkabout, and you determine what our needs are, they scoped out the work, what our needs are, and then you see what our failures or our problems are. What does that cost us?
that would probably be in the range of somewhere like 15 to 20,000, I think.
And that would be an upfront cost.
That would be an
before
upfront
anything
cost,
happens.
and then if you were to move into another project, like if a project came out of that,
Yeah,
then what we would do is that we would credit that against the project. I mean, if you're gonna do a toilet room remodel out of the project, I can't credit you back $15,000, right? But if you're gonna do something that's a little bit more substantial, as long as there isn't like a major change, cause we'll come out of this with some concept plans, I think. Like the, truck wash or vehicle wash or whatever we're gonna do. So that's really kind of what we would call like the schematic design piece of it. So, I mean, you wouldn't have to pay for that again because you've already paid for it. So this way you get that credit moving forward.
What's
Well,
before the,
when you first talked about the project that we wanna do, I thought it would be quite simple, but evidently, I mean, could get a little costly.
No, I know.
Well, I think what you get to be, we run into this with a lot of the rural road commissions too, is that if you don't have municipal, utilities, especially sanitary, which is the issue, especially with the, if you're gonna do a vehicle wash bay, and it's handling the wash water. This is the same thing we did up at Clare Transit, and I did at Washtenaw Road Commission over there by, Whitmore Lake. Well, except they had sanitary, but the fire suppression is the same thing. Down there, we buried tanks for the fire suppression. Up at Clare, we did the fire well.
Yeah.
But you have to have 2 separate drain fields, one to handle the toilets and one handle
Right.
the trench drains and
Which
the
would
wash
be like they
bays.
call gray water.
Right, so anything that goes into a trench drain or the
Did you
vehicle
get
wash
this
has
card?
to go through its own
You
drain
may want
field, and you have to be careful about how much you're discharging, because if you get over a certain amount, well, regardless, you can have a groundwater discharge permit,
Mhm.
but if it goes over, I think it's 10,000 gallons a day, 5 or 10,000 gallons a day, then it kicks you into another level of cost to maintain the permit. And I ran into that down at, we did a garage down at Fenville for MDOT. We had the same thing down there, that,
Okay.
you know, we had to go through an analysis of like how much water they use to wash a vehicle and how many vehicles are gonna wash a day, and then, you know,
Mhm.
yeah,
There's a lot to it.
there's a lot to it, yeah, I mean, you can't just put a wash bay on here and
Back in the old days.
be
you
in
could do
compliance.
those. Well, you could.
For some reason, I thought we
Yeah.
had the groundwater discharge permit. Tim, you could tell me if
Probably
I'm
for
wrong,
the
but
tank
because of the
or
lagoon.
Yeah, the sump out back.
Yeah, but then there's some other things too, as far as discharging into a drain field with your wash bay water is bad. I mean, then you're opening yourself up for litigation, or not litigation, but problems down the road as contamination, right?
Well, you run, everything has to go through an oil water separator, but if you're gonna say that it's gonna capture 100% of everything, I'm not gonna
No.
say that.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And, yeah, you could potentially.
So I don't know,
at
so
some
maybe
point-
there's an analysis issue here where we have to figure out, it might be cost effective to haul that to Elm or wherever it's going, right?
We do that now, yep. Mhm.
Sure.
Put it into a tank instead of a.
Yeah.
Put it into a tank
I don't know,
instead of.
yeah,
You would do it for
We've been
the
hauling
line
them.
pond,
Yeah.
you do a line pond and then you
Yeah.
pump it, I mean.
Yeah.
That's what we have out there now is the line pond, and then we take it to that facility.
So does that capture all your trench drains and everything? Or-
I
Yep,
can't answer that.
the floor drains in there, off the wash
Okay.
bay.
And then, I always said, why don't we have an aerator, a mister, and a you know, where it's cycling over something to evaporate it, you know, the water's gonna go up, and then
Mhm.
try to minimize what we cost to go to Elma.
Yeah.
That and, you know, in the collects rainwater,
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
so putting something over to keep the rainwater out of it. Of course, then the sun doesn't hit it and evaporate the water off. But I mean, there's lots of different things to kind of bird dog down and try to figure out, and to be able to come away with recommendations.
Then come
that-
up with a plan.
Yep, and align with the, you know, the board's vision, so.
Yeah.
Did you wanna go through the slide?
Sure, we can kind of go through some things. If this is opening slide, these are some of
Can you
the,
see it okay?
yeah, so these are some of the, road commission type projects that, we're working on, or I've personally worked on. So, you know, Clare Transit, Ottawa County. This is just kind of the process and data collection for this facility condition assessment. I already went through this, some of the components that we look at. You know, we're looking at the building itself, the buildings themselves, interior finishes and space flows, the operational efficiency of the facility, all the mechanical, electrical systems, also any hazardous materials that you may have in the building or soil contamination, we wanna know about that. So this is a Excel spreadsheet that I've developed. It kinda helps me, I forget which project this was, but it had a 36 bay, parking garage to it, and so I can put the data in here real quick from some of our early programming meetings. It kinda spits out a target cost for the building.
Oh, yeah.
So I just kinda put the data in, like how many offices, desks are we gonna need, and a waiting room, conference room, you know, how many people are in the men's and women's locker, break room seats, and, you know, I plug it all in and it spits out about a $6.5 million facility, right? And I have another one for a salt barn. So the finance, that's just a quick tool to get us into a target range for information and discussion purposes, because if we kind of go through this and then say, oh, wait a minute, that's really more than we want to spend, so then we're gonna start, you know,
Exactly.
changing the expectation, right?
Yeah.
So it's all about identifying the expectation and meeting that expectation. So some of the financing options that we see, you know, the cash reserves, MTF funds, municipal bonds, USDA loans, or an IPA. Most typically, I see the municipal bonds and USDA loans, or cash reserve. Just some of the typical budget financing challenges we see are, you know, the unfunded liabilities, fleet costs, road costs, fund balance, and your debt capacity. So it's all kind of placed together. And So these are some of the old trucks. So a lot of the old facilities in the 40s, 50s were designed around something like this.
Yeah.
Some of us might remember those.
I
So that's about as big as a Suburban, right? So you see these old facilities, that's actually a picture inside Allegan County Road Commission's old garage. It was built
Oh
in the
my
40s.
gosh.
Well, yeah.
So,
And
so
it
and today,
looks like a
plow
garage.
trucks.
I know it does.
Plow, it looks so big, right? Well, if you were to put today's plow truck into that, it wouldn't
Wow.
fit. So this was the shop area that we did for Allegan County Road Commission a few years ago.
That's nice.
So it's,
Well, it's
it's
interesting.
tall space, it's bright, it's serviced by a 5-ton bridge crane.
That's
It's
nice.
got in-floor heat, it's a fluid distribution system, and there's lots of.
That's good, but we're not looking for anything like that.
No, I'm just, well, I'm just kinda showing you some images of what we're doing.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm going record with that one, didn't
And they built that in like, I think it was 2014, so they were right in that economic downturn, so that really ended up working out well for them.
That's good.
Is there a hoist in every one of the bays?
No, not every bay. So they're all in-ground hoists or 75,000
That
pound
is very
hoists.
nice.
So this is Claire Transit, you're probably familiar with this project.
Yeah, that solar grid powers the whole county.
I wish.
What is that power?
It powers the building. Now, it does not power the whole building because consumers will not let you generate more power than you consume. So they always want to sell you something.
Of course.
Sure.
So we had to run run out the projection on the power demand for the facility for a year, and then size this thing so it was about 80 to 90% of their power demand.
Does
Wow.
it generate 80% of their power?
More,
Does
Wow.
it really?
yeah.
So it's really a cost savings, honestly?
Oh, yeah, but
Oh,
see,
yeah.
this was all through, so the Clear Transit is funded through federal dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't come
Right.
local, and so they didn't have to pay for that technically, right?
Wow.
So, that's a nice deal for them. I mean, normally, can you go back a minute, Dwayne, real quick? Normally, I mean, those PV systems that's like $325,000 to put that in.
Oh my gosh.
So it's gonna take you a long time to get that energy, or, to pay back.
Sure.
But if you don't have to pay for it up front, okay.
Mhm.
So we did an in-ground fueling station there, and we ended up putting a canopy over it later, and you can't quite see it, but behind the canopy, before the building, there is a solar, hot water heating system. So that generates, I would say, mostly all their hot water demands, domestic hot water demands.
Wow.
So, yeah, and then this is a salt barn we did down at the MDOT facility in Fenville. It was a 6,000 tonner. So this was Washtenaw Road Commission. This is a brand new facility, and I have the slide up here really just to kind of show you that, the operational layout. When you get a chance, to do a new yard, or like when we're looking at Kalkaska, they're really kind of redeveloping their whole yard. The operations center is kind of off here to one side, and it's kind of lineal, and it allows for expansion to the right. We have material storage bins, and then the drive-through salt barn, and then the fueling station. So you can kind of see the flow of traffic is kind of like a circle, clockwise through the facility. And there's plenty of room for vehicle movement. And with the large vehicle traffic, there aren't any 90-degree corners or hidden corners. We actually ended up putting a Vector dump as part of the material storage. That's covered. But,
Is that the one on Silo Road?
no, that is Northeast Territorial.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this
Well,
is just.
We're talking about a bunch of things that are really
Yeah,
out there
Yeah,
in La La
Yeah.
Land. Can we get back on task and define what our needs are?
yeah,
What
Oh, there's your site right there, Dwayne.
Gotcha.
yeah, that's what
Oh,
we
that's
need to
awesome.
do.
what we need,
Me too.
and then go from there.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, that's what part of the discussion was. It's just to introduce you guys, and then
Yeah.
if this is something we wanna
Absolutely,
continue to talk about, there's nothing like in the works, but
Right,
I
right,
wanted to
No.
just.
Well, and I'm all for that, but I just wanna
I'd like to get back
find your
to-
needs,
Mhm.
do the assessment, find out what we're not in compliance with as far as handicap and this thing and fire suppression, whatever we need to do. And then we can
Go
kinda
from there.
confine it, and then we can have a discussion. you know, as far as, I know it's all
It's
nice
very
to say,
nice,
well, man,
yeah.
that's a nice road commission out of Washtenaw County, but we're not building it in the road commission.
No, that was just some of the, giving you a little bit of background
Okay,
information
yeah,
on what
yeah,
we're.
yeah.
Well, yeah,
the-
that's good.
you know, our experience. I guess, you know, like I said, we've done a lot of road commission work, I've done a lot of road commission work, so understanding road commission operations and the equipment and what you guys do on a day in, day out basis back there,
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah.
One of the things I was looking at on this site is Dwayne was talking about like a vehicle wash bay.
Right.
You can kinda see where, if we're somehow going to extend the long leg of the building, it starts to tighten up against your property line, to the east. East is
Mhm.
down, north is to the right.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's.
Yeah.
So I mean, you have space on the site, it's just a matter of where that thing would get attached to, and
But the wash bay could be a standalone,
it
right?
could be, yes, it could be a standalone. And to me, when we talked about a wash bay with, Washtenaw County and also Jackson Road Department, they were looking at standalones. I would build it personally like like your concrete salt barn out back.
Would you?
Poured in place walls, epoxy coated rebar, and then put, you know, the trusses over the top that are epoxy painted gusset plates. And then put like an FRP panel system on the bottom of the trusses. And when that's done, we would, you would spray apply this, like a penetrating sealer. It's called Moxie 1500 on the walls, and that penetrates up to like 6 or 7 inches. But it keeps the chlorides or the salts out from going into the concrete. So, and I did that with the floor too. But, and you're not looking at an automated thing, so then we'd have to look at the water source, and I don't know how big your well is here, and do we drill a new well to support the wash bay and all the other good
Well,
stuff.
there's a lot of work to do, a lot of planning to do, so I'd say, you know, get together with Dwayne, and then we plan on doing the wash bay and doing this thing, and get the figures together,
Okay,
and, then see if the board will approve it or not, you know. You got a lot of footwork to do now.
Right, yeah.
You know, it's not gonna
Yeah,
happen
just-
soon,
No.
but it's in the planning, and,
Yeah.
so if you can get a plan going that we can look at that's for this county, yeah.
okay.
Thank you, Marty.
Do we,
Thanks, Marty.
do we want to, you know, like you said, your fee is normally a certain amount to do that?
Do this, yes.
Do we want to say,
Could we get a
could
proposal?
we get a half of that book? So much money, you
Well-
know what I'm saying?
No, a
'Cause
proposal.
we're just
Uh-huh.
saying
Could we get
want-
a quote
We're
from
gonna
him
have
and then
to.
bring it and
Yeah,
then see if we
yeah.
want to?
Yes.
That's
Cause I
exactly
feel
what I
like
said,
we're
yeah.
not
We
sure,
said it all day.
we don't want only half of this done. I mean, you gotta realize the garage, when you walk out in the garage, some of our windows don't even close.
Oh, I know that.
Well, we get new windows if we.
You know what I'm saying, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So part of that would be the facility assessment piece,
Yeah.
would
Yes.
be identifying the
Just-
windows
We'll
and
talk about
and
that.
the
Exactly,
cost to
once you
replace
guys-
them and.
Once you got something to present to the board,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
So I think the purpose of this is that like if everybody in the road commission left, somebody could take this and pick it up and understand it and what the roadmap is, master plan for the commission is. Whether or not they wanna follow it, that'd be up to them. But at least this, if we're all like, when I got up and walked away, there's something here that's gonna provide some direction.
Yeah.
And as part of this is why it's so thick is, there's a lot going on that site. They border a township, the village, and they're part of the county, and the airport, and underground, you know, pipelines, and it's just, there's just a lot going on.
Well, we don't have those kind of problems.
No, you
here.
don't. No, it seems pretty
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that'll be good. Thank you
All right,
for
I'll work with
coming in.
Dwayne, and,
You'll be working with the manager, and
Yep.
we'll get something to look at in the
thank you for your
future.
time.
Thank
Thank you.
Cell phone policy. I've read it. Everybody else read it? And I think it's something that's needed. So, if everybody's read it, and, I would, say we should take it to a vote.
Well, on the cell phone policy, so,
Yeah,
I don't know if I even have it in here.
Yeah, you got
I
something.
thought I did, but so,
Because we gotta.
who's gonna, how do we do that? Who's going to enforce this, Dwayne?
That would be any supervisor or
Okay.
myself.
The public
Okay.
might see it.
Because, well, you know,
No.
there's always been traditionally over the years,
Yeah.
I've seen it, you've seen it, you know, truck driving down the road 60 mile an hour, he's on
Absolutely.
the phone, it's like, oh my
Mm.
God, why? But anyways, so if it's good if all your, staff can enforce that, I'm good with it.
Yeah, I'm
If they
good
do
with it
enforce it,
too.
I'm good with it. And I would have one request, I wanna know the first time there's a reprimand, I want you to tell us. So,
Okay.
to know that it is being enforced.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I make a motion, we pass the cell phone policy.
So I support,
Yes.
take a vote,
Yep.
Yes, Kim?
okay. Yeah, that's the way to handle that. Because you can have policies and policies, and you gotta
Right, yeah.
have them enforced. Okay, reimbursement attached, what are we talking here?
So Merle, I think you had
Yep.
brought it up. You had
Merle brought it up.
wanted to know what our reimbursement
Yeah.
was for cell phones. And did we have a policy or where or how do we just do it willy-nilly? So what I found was, May 21st of 2014, the board passed a policy or passed a motion that we would raise, so prior to that, it was 40, and they increased it to 50. So there must be an older motion backwards, but I didn't look any back more. I didn't look for.
Well, you brought that up.
Who's reimbursed for phones? Just the foreman, the superintendent, Dwayne?
Administrative staff.
Yeah, everybody, how about you and Donna?
Yeah, they're
Yes,
always on
because we
it.
have to use our phones for
Yeah, they
work
use
as
their
well.
phones all the time.
So is it
Unless-
50 or 60? This says 60. What
It
what
is
the fix-
60.
It is 60
Yeah.
now, yeah.
It is up to
Quarterly,
60.
yeah, and it's
Yes.
been
Yeah,
quarterly
not
every,
to go over the 60 limit.
Correct.
usually they're reimbursed 180 every quarter.
Yeah, and they have to bring me a copy of their bill. I must have their bill.
I seen it in the payables, and I
Yes.
just wanted to make sure that
Mhm.
everything was
Yep.
jiving with the policy versus what they were getting.
Yes, so I don't know that you'd call it a policy, it was
No,
just
just-
set, approved by the board.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
Old,
good.
older
Yeah.
board.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
Good.
problem.
Yep.
Okay. Number 6, we've got the organizational chart,
So-
ongoing, yeah.
Yes, so it's ongoing, and I'll show you a copy. I didn't include in your packets.
No,
So we can't really do it, because you see everything in yellow?
yeah,
These are all the changes pending. So obviously, we know we have changes that have happened here, these ones, but everything else here is like still pending with job postings. So Dwayne and I talked about it and said we really would prefer to not.
that's
Make
right, I
any
don't mind.
changes.
What do they got, Dwayne, another couple weeks maybe, you think everybody will be in their spot?
It'll always be
Probably, yeah.
progress in motion.
Yeah, but usually it
Not
stays
like this.
split,
Not like
yeah.
this.
It's
No,
usually
you-
one maybe.
You changed some positions so
Yeah.
everybody feels
Well,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
But
you need to have.
right now,
Sure.
I've never seen this kind of change. So we have so many people that are pending on, I feel like Donna just showed me 5 different positions that, and they have like approximately 20 days to make that decision.
Mhm.
But actually, it's a spreadsheet, it's real time, you can make the changes and next to their name, put,
Okay.
Well, yeah.
tentative or
To be
whatever,
determined
and then
or whatever.
every month you
Alright.
could update it,
Yeah.
just put tentative in there and roll it out.
We thought about moving, just not even having
Because
positions.
it's not ice to stone, that's for sure.
Did it matter?
No,
You know,
Well,
but
it's more for, you need to know who's reporting to who. Right.
yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
you don't really need to have positions
No.
because all the men report to Brian and Bruce and then Dave.
Mhm.
That's
I
right.
think it's important to have the names in there, so everybody's familiar with who reports to who, so I'm not just, it doesn't just say drivers, it has every single one listed.
Mhm.
Well, we always did have, and,
So-
Yeah, I was just saying it,
We
that'd
just
be an easy
updated
way
it.
to update it, and not always have it be hung over our head, who's changing where,
no,
just
Can
a
we keep
thought.
it on old business and we'll
Yeah,
yeah, very,
absolutely.
very,
update that
very
for
simple.
next one and,
Yeah,
Mhm.
revamp it.
Yep.
exactly, that's right. Okay, new business, number 1, resolution for MDOT.
Okay, so this is, when Jim was here, he was telling us that we were going to be getting, the OPEB waiver.
I'm looking, this is right there.
Looks like this.
The redo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I'm going
that's the
ahead of
one,
stuff.
I got it right here.
This has been happening for several years, I'll say at least. We just get our OPEB waiver saying that we know it's here.
Uh-huh.
We just have to pass a motion that the board's aware of it as well. It will, like Jim said to the board when he was here, it's going to take care of itself because we've closed off OPEB.
Yeah.
So, do you need any more description, definition? Are you all understanding it okay?
I understand it okay, yeah.
Okay, so I have all the paperwork to send back to Jim. Jim sends it in for us, so he knows it's good, he knows it's there. Dwayne has already signed it. I can redo this, resolution.
The
If
second.
someone wants to make the motion.
I'll make a motion, Kim.
Second.
Support.
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 Okay?
Okay, that does that one. No correspondence, this is none. Staff reports, let's start with, what we got from staff. Kim, do you have anything?
Yes, I really forgot to say this last time, I should have. I
Okay.
just really wanted to thank Donna and Dwayne and Dorothy.
They did a nice job.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You're up?
Alright, so from Al, he's been working on bridge maintenance with Brad and the crew. They're working on tree clearing and brushing on bridges. They waterproof sealed cracks and painted on North Park Avenue and Bailey Lake. 2 concrete bridge decks that they sealed up, and they did an awesome job. And then we have some deck patching we're gonna be doing probably next week for a couple more bridges. Al's got stuff ordered, so we'll have to close
Where are those bridges?
Colinville and Eberhard.
Yeah.
So when we get the stuff in, we've got the equipment ready. So we're actually gonna do some jackhammering on some of the bad spots in the bridge deck and patch them up. And
So out of all the bridges that we got, I mean, naturally probably getting the worst first,
yeah, yeah,
but you're getting caught up for,
yeah.
well, that's a never-ending thing anyway. I mean,
Yeah, but it's something that's been neglected.
Yeah,
and-
it
and
has.
once we do this stuff, we're gonna be sitting really good.
Good.
It's a good little start for what they've got going,
Yeah.
learning curve, so. Al paved Bringold and Park Street a couple weeks ago, still needs shoulder gravel. They milled and repaved on North Road in Surrey Townships, still needs shoulder gravel, but that was the problem project from last year, that they fixed that. All 2019 work is complete for paving, and they should be starting on our 2020 paving soon. Chip seal, Farmer's gonna start hauling in the slag, probably gonna store it here.
Oh,
They
yeah?
have about 150 loads they need to deliver, so we're gonna find them a spot to store it here. Al will get that tested, that's for our MDOT 23-mile
Yeah.
job and for our local chip seal jobs.
Still on track
So it'll
for
be
August,
stored-
early August?
It'll be
Still on.
stored here,
Oh,
then.
good.
That's gonna start Monday, they're gonna start hauling in, still planning on August 3rd start date.
What are you talking on material, how much, I mean,
150 train loads.
oh, that's a bunch.
And, Farmer's been out crack sealing the 25 miles for the MDOT work. They got 23 out of 25 miles done, so they're just about done with the crack seal, and everything's falling in place with that. Maintenance, Dover Road, box culvert went very, very well. I got some quotes for guardrails, so hopefully we'll have new guardrail up possibly by the end of this week, and then that road will be open and good to go.
Which one was that, which road?
Dover Road, just off 115. Ridge Road, the gravel project in Frost Township. They've got all the underground, the sewer works done, retaining walls completed. When Brian gets back from vacation, they're gonna stake it out and it's ready for gravel. Arden's gonna be doing the gravel on that one. Springwood Drive for Hamilton Township, pipe work's done. People are so happy on that one. We
Good.
fixed a spring that was in the road. The road was, a lawn tractor drove down the road and got stuck in the road.
Is that right, or is that bad?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard.
We ditched it and it flows
Now, that's
like
what
crazy.
township?
He's over in
Hamilton,
Springwood.
Oh, yeah.
Springwood
okay.
area.
Springwood. So again, that one's all done, to be staked and ready for gravel. Arden is also doing the gravel on that project. Long Lake Road in Summerfield is just about ready to be staked for gravel. I think we have one cross culvert to do, but we've got most of the
You
ditching
get
and
him on
everything
pretty good
done.
with ours, then he's,
Yep,
everything's fine, huh?
yep. Gravel's been good,
Yeah.
test came out good,
Okay.
so. Freeman Township, when Dave gets back Monday, him and Bruce are gonna stake out Freeman, for limestone gravel. Fisher's ready to go, so Dave met with Al last week, did a walkthrough with him on everything, and everything's
Is it-
going good there. We had two little ditching projects on Spring Road, and then we had one on Lakeside Road. Turned out good, the guys did an awesome job. We started on the Adams Road project with the dozer work, so that's starting up a little bit slowly.
How much,
And
that
I
project
told you
on
what to say.
Adams, I mean, what stretch of road is it, how, where is that
It's,
exactly,
From Clare Avenue east,
East.
or 2 miles.
Okay.
Yeah, see, so
I know exactly, okay, after you get up James Hill, yeah,
it's a split with Grant, Hatton, and us,
That's
three-way
right.
split.
That's
so.
right,
But
okay.
we got the dozer there, they started pushing dirt, and, that's starting to get rolling there, so.
cause I know that they did a lot of tree cutting and everything and got
Yep.
the ditches
Yep.
done, yeah, all right.
So that, I mean, knock on wood, so far, things are rolling quite well, so. And then I printed out, this is just a kind of a,
nice.
show you what's going on
Yeah,
with their computers. They're up and running, we had some glitches, IT Right finally got us good to go.
Right here, the whole packet.
Can I ask you a
It's right
question
there.
about this?
oh, here it is.
Yep.
I've been-
Yeah.
People ask me, is this a
Is there
separate line,
complaints?
and I said, I don't
And
think
then-
so.
Oh, I
I
see.
think it's a
It's
regular
good.
phone
It's really
number, you
nice.
just call it in,
Correct.
and Donna takes
Oh,
care of it,
yeah.
or Jim.
Mhm.
Yep. So the
And-
phone calls come into the front desk, Donna or Kim will enter the information into the system.
Mhm.
It's got, received by the date, everything.
That's a good thing right there.
Yeah.
The guys' laptops they have, Wi-Fi and everything, so they log into the computer in the office.
Yeah,
That was the glitch, cause the office computer, for safety reasons, kept wanting to go to sleep on us. And when it goes to sleep, they can't log into it, so their office computer stays on all the time now, so they can log in from home or from their truck or whatever. And then,
boy, that saves time and
I
money.
mean, Brian and Bruce, they check it at home, they're updating, they're doing this stuff like 24/7 almost. so.
Brian's gone right now, I'm not sure where he's at, but
He's up north, I don't think he has connection.
He does.
He does?
He just responded to one Donna put in
Yeah.
yesterday.
Ouch.
You see, technology is a wonderful thing when it works.
Right.
Yeah.
So
It's
all
a
this is
very
getting documented, and then I had Donna pull up and these are just sample reports that
Yeah.
we wanted to show
Just so
you.
we got,
And then
how.
Donna
like
could
that.
print out, a quick, this took like a minute, a request status, what's closed, what's open, dates they came in, dates they got closed.
Yeah.
And then she did a breakdown showing us what townships had what amount of calls. So right now I can see Franklin had 7, Summerfield only had 1, so.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is really,
That'll
yeah.
So easy to do.
I'm
That'll be
impressed.
done. So this is, request, okay.
What's the time frame? What period of time did this take
That,
place?
this was from our last board meeting, since our
Okay.
last board meeting. There were some carryover ones that she had from like January, December or something.
Those could be ones that just didn't get closed, like from old
Yeah,
staff.
but for the most part, it's from June 30th till yesterday, or Monday.
So I do have a
Thanks,
comment
guys.
of something that happened, and I had a question with Dwayne about it. Over the weekend, when I came in for, say, like, the first day in the morning, Donna wasn't here that day, so I was answering, like, writing down all the messages over the weekend.
Yeah,
There were like 12 calls, people calling in. They didn't leave their name, they didn't leave their township. So
yeah,
my first thing was, well, you know, we had a little conversation. We really wanna have good customer contact, totally
Okay.
understand.
customer service.
So I was the only one here, and I thought, okay, Dwayne had some really important things for me to do, I understand, but I wanted to also try to do customer service. So the first part of my day, I tried to literally try to call people back to ask their name, their township.
But Kim, you get in the weeds on that. If they can't leave their name, their township, the road, the issue, then you can't waste time doing it.
Well,
Yeah,
and
right.
here was my
I
thing,
agree with
common
that.
sense.
I spent till noon.
Right.
And then I finally, that's why I wanted to bring it up, till we are all
It just comes
clear.
to a point where it's like,
Because then I just said to Dwayne, okay, so we're gonna have to talk about this, cause
Yeah, you can't.
now
do-
I've spent till noon not
Yeah.
touching your stuff, so I wanted to just bring this up, and
Yeah.
Donna discussed maybe changing our message. So if you're leaving a message, please remember to leave your name, your number, your township.
Your
yes,
Exactly.
And then
Yeah.
even if we're putting in a service request, was just with their name and number, and please return their phone call.
mhm.
Yeah.
Because you never know what they're
Change
gonna
the
say. I mean,
message.
I've called
Yeah.
people,
So,
they've called me and
Yeah.
said, I've called the road commission 5
Yeah,
times.
you don't know
what
And
it is
then
in the
I find out they've never even called.
I had a lady call me yesterday who said, I have called in
Yeah, I
on
know.
my road, Eastman Road, 6 times.
Yeah.
I literally pulled up this computer, sorted it by township. I said, I'm not seeing Patton Township. I don't see, oh, wait a minute, I see your phone number.
Mhm.
It was the wrong road.
Sure.
Yeah.
I said, so you're reporting the wrong road? She said, well, it's Eastman Road off Bass Lake. I said, well, just so you know, when, whatever you're saying when you call, it's being put in as Bass Lake. However you're saying it, you're saying Bass Lake, not Eastman Road. I will change it and put in a new request for you.
Yeah, I would change the
That's
message.
just the same kind
Detail.
of thing.
So, you know,
Yeah.
as we go to township meetings and stuff, we need to give them information like that.
Well, that's why I asked the question with the Dwayne, cause I've been trying to tell people that, and
Yeah.
they asked me if we had a separate line, and I didn't know.
No, that's right.
All of our lines trump
Yeah. Into-
lines, so if they call the main one, if it's
Yeah.
busy, it'll go to 2 and 3.
Yeah, it's all the same number.
Yes.
And it's all the same number.
Mhm.
But,
We'll move to the
yeah,
right direction anyway.
Yeah, this is huge, this
Absolutely.
is great.
Yeah.
so we need to, you know, we need to respond and let the people know out there what's happening.
And just make sure they're very clear when they're calling and, or leaving a message.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you envision of, what type of report should we see monthly or every meeting? Just, we don't need details as much as I think, maybe just a summary.
Well, we gotta know
I don't know,
what,
just throwing it
how
out
many
there.
calls.
Well,
Yeah,
you-
we talked about that because
Cover page tells a lot.
we
Yeah.
had some, right off the get-go, we were getting a lot of calls about dust and,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
brining and
I mean,
stuff,
those-
which the townships do that, so we were debating if we wanted to like enter all that in our system, but I told Don and Kim yes, cause I wanna collect the data to see, once we compile the data, we can see where the problem is, and then, probably like come up with something for our website with a brining schedule for each township and just kind
That's
of
right,
Mhm.
yeah.
an explanation of how it works, and then maybe we can start reducing that amount of phone calls on our end, because if people
Or
start
we just
understanding how it works.
Well, you
clarify
got
it on the message.
Right, yeah,
Well-
that's true too.
You know, just
Yeah.
specifically say if you're calling about dust control, please contact your local
That's a good
township.
idea.
That's a great
That
idea.
is-
Yeah, well, it is, because the townships do their grinding,
Uh-huh,
Right.
and they know.
Yeah.
and the roads are looking pretty decent.
If you guys are going to township meetings, another important thing is, right after brining, people are calling and saying, can you please come and blade my road?
Yeah.
We can't.
No.
The townships are spending over 20,000 for brining, and the next day, they're wanting us to blade.
Mhm.
No, you're
We-
right.
Townships
can't.
aren't happy this year with the briny they're getting either.
They're
Are-
not.
No, they are not.
I've been to 4 that weren't happy.
What's
Well,
going on?
but we haven't had moisture this year.
No, it's been
It's
bad.
like, it just disappears within.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
there's no
evaporating
moisture.
now.
Yeah, different,
Mhm.
different
There
conditions,
were
weather
some
conditions
issues
is a
early
big.
on, the first
They need to do
grinding,
some
they missed
talking
a
to
lot of
God.
roads.
It's either too wet or
Right,
too
yeah.
dry.
Pray for that one.
But, who's brining, which brining company?
Calcium chloride.
Michigan chloride.
Michigan chloride.
Well, for the most part.
For the most part,
There's a
they-
couple that still aren't, they use.
They're still
someone
using
else.
Beckman or?
Yeah.
They use that one out of Harrison.
They do their own bidding and everything,
Yeah.
so it's
You
whoever
know-
they get, they get.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
so if
all
you
in
can-
all, from what I can see on the roads, and I haven't had a lot of calls.
We do, a
I
lot.
know, but I think that,
Well, they have too, they've been catching a lot of, stuff about the brining. The first, like I said, the first couple brinings in some of the townships, they missed a lot of roads and things didn't go well, that kind of stuff,
It
so,
was
but the
weather
last couple
conditions
have been
were-
good.
those-
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
weather conditions, can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
But the communications seem to be up good, I mean, and, just like Dwayne, you don't have to run around to every township, you can do it right from the office and
Mhm.
communicate with these townships, and I think it's working fine so
Mhm.
far.
Dave and Al, starting in August, and between, beginning of August and end of September,
Yeah,
we're gonna implement a township ride-around.
good,
So I want Dave and Al, and then maybe one of the foremen if they're available, but primarily Dave and Al, meet with the township supervisor for each township
Yes.
and or
Oh, that's good.
whoever
Yeah.
their road
And
representative is.
yeah,
Ride the roads, Al's got all the Paisley ratings, they can go over concerns.
good
maybe
idea.
Throw out ideas of
Perfect.
projects so we can start the process of getting our estimates done before the snow flies, and then that gives us winter time to get the bids out and
Well,
keep, get the ball
that-
rolling
that-
way ahead of schedule, so. That'll be taking place, we're gonna start notifying the supervisors and setting up,
Well, that's
you know,
good.
coordinating
because
meeting times
Yeah.
and stuff,
They
so.
went for years and years and they just, we have a plan, you have a plan, that's the
Mhm.
main thing.
Yep.
Yeah. That's good.
amen.
Yeah.
Amen to that. Okay, what else, Dwayne?
I'm good.
Very good report, thank you. Commissioner reports.
A couple things, had some compliments from Julie Lightfoot at the Freeman meeting on Thursday that
Mhm.
Bill and I were at.
Mhm.
Just real happy with the correspondence and communication with, Mr. Kuhn. So she just wanted to, it's always good to hear compliments at the meeting. They were also having issues with branding, but we already talked about that. And then Cold Springs in Garfield,
Yeah,
I spoke with the lady, and she didn't seem to think that it was resolved to her satisfaction. And, after a long conversation, I just for everybody's information,
yeah,
I just said, we're done, we're not putting steps in, we're done with what we're doing there. And, I'm sorry I'm not giving you the answer that you're hoping to hear, because every time, then it was something else. And
yeah,
so
well,
we're
you did the
done
right
with
thing
it.
there.
But I wanna make sure Dave Biles happy, and I haven't talked to Dave, cause I wanted to talk amongst ourselves. If you had any communication with Dave, does he feel that it's satisfaction to him? Or no communication, or he's not satisfied? Which is it?
I've had communication, so.
Okay, and you're summarizing.
But he's not a happy camper?
Mm-mm.
But it's one of these issues, they're never gonna be happy,
Mhm.
so it doesn't matter what you say.
Well, and that's what I said, I'm sorry I'm not giving the answer you wanna hear,
Right.
but
Yeah.
I think we're done with what we're gonna do there. Good, better, and different, that was the consensus that I took away from our last meeting,
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
yeah, so, okay,
Be done,
Mhm.
be done.
okay, we're done, okay,
Mhm.
that's what I wanted to do.
Over 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay, is there anything else?
That's all I have, thank you.
You're
I'm
good?
good, Dick.
You're good?
I'm good.
I'm good too, like I say, it's been pretty fair, my phone's been quite quiet.
Quiet.
And, I think that everybody seems to be doing a good job. And I know that Dwayne's on top of everything by his report, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, Stockwell Easter Rogers had a call on that, it said it needs maintenance, so I don't know if it needs grading, I don't know what it needs, but if somebody could look at that, it'd be
What
fabulous.
township's that now?
Hamilton.
Oh, Hamilton.
And then, Point View out in Hamilton too, in the subdivision, Cranberry Lake North. There's a lot of spoils, I don't know what's the status on the project, but a person called me and complained that the ditches aren't draining and it just goes over the road right into their lawn where they did that work. I don't know what the status is on that, but.
That's not part of the project, right? This is a different,
Well, no, it must be Point View, they've done work out there, the road commission has, and it's right by the boat launch on Cranberry Lake northern side, coming off of south on Eberhart, Eberhart there at Party Store South, and it curves around, then you go south, and Point View runs along to the boat launch. And they've been in there working, but the ditches are 4 inches higher than this one fellow's yard, he's complaining.
Oh,
And then when we have a rain, it does go over and just wash right into the lake, so,
something to look
I
at.
don't know.
yeah, I don't know.
Make a note of that, Dwayne.
And also, what is our split now between projects, Dwayne, equipment projects or versus maintenance, or, can you tell me that split, is there a split? I mean, do we have trucks out blading, 50/50?
Blading and stuff is just on us.
Yeah, but we have trucks doing it, right, or they're not all on projects?
Right,
Oh.
trucks are blading, yeah.
The ratio
Yeah, that's all I.
So it's all getting,
And then
We're
we
evened out.
had, Al talked, we added 21 miles of chip seal, right?
The state project is like 23 or whatever.
We're right, but then Al was saying at the last meeting that there was a 21-mile ad with the townships.
I don't know if it's that.
So-
My question is, can I get a list on that?
I think it's on this map here.
Yeah, nothing's changed from that.
So 21.33 is federal.
Right.
Yeah,
Then he has, of that federal, we did in the budget 66,000 of our dollars for,
Crack seal.
Yes.
It's all on here.
And then
But-
local,
All the.
yeah,
Chip
we've got the
seal.
maps, yeah.
Oh, but he said there was an ad, it wasn't an ad, it
it's
was a
not,
plan, okay.
yeah.
No,
It-
it's
not
okay,
extra.
so like
Yeah,
seriously,
yeah,
I wrote
yeah.
that
Yeah.
down and went right to the budget.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's how I caught it too.
Yeah.
no, we're not, we
We
can't.
said we
add
picked
anything.
up some more, we picked up some more projects.
but they
coming.
were.
But they're not
paying
additions.
for it, correct, or
Yeah.
wasn't, it
No,
wasn't
I
extra
think
on
it's
our
because
end?
of,
I think it was his wording.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, cause I literally went right back to the
I know what you
budget.
said, cause I heard it too.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
had 60.
No, we haven't added anything.
But then he got the
from
map
No, I
out.
mean, what the map says is what it
What we're
is.
doing.
I know what you're asking, Tim, and I clarified it, and I just,
Yep.
discussed it with
Because of
the.
all the cancellation in Gladwin and Midland counties, that's the way I took it, that we had
No.
additional.
No.
My last thing would be, if I could, MERS, like this month was $72,000.
So, just FYI, we set an amount in the budget, let's just say it was 800,000,
Right.
and we divide that out into 12,
Yeah,
and that's what we pay
Yeah.
every month.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, can I have a 10-year run on our MERS, the last 10 years? So we can plot that out, whether it's logarithmic or whatever it is. It is growing exponentially, correct?
So would you like to see what Jim was talking about the other day, like the
No.
net fiduciary
No,
statement?
I just want what we paid in MERS for a total of 2019, 18, 17, 16,
Oh, right.
all the way to 09, so we can put,
Use that 10-year forecast for
Yes.
the next 10.
yes, so we can say, okay, like right now, 10% of our budget is going to pay for retirement.
then we can plot it out and say 15 years from now, or 10 years from now, or 7 years from now, 14% of our budget will be from MERS.
Based on the previous 10 years.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm
So
not
you
saying
just-
it's gonna be, it's almost like you're
No, but give us,
a Monte Carlo
What is a
simulator,
forecast?
right? It's
Yeah.
got all these variables that you can't really define, but, we need to look at
well, the
it.
board would have a,
So you would like to know just what is coming out
Yeah.
of our pocket?
No.
The
Yes,
actual expense.
I wanna know how much the
That goes into
taxpayers
that.
paid for retirement in MERS for the last 10 years.
But not total, individual years.
Just individual years.
yeah,
Which works up to a total. Yeah, that'd be good information.
Any other information you'd like in it, or not really?
No.
Okay.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Bill?
I've been going to meetings, like Merle was saying, we were at Freeman last week, I was in Arthur Monday, Surrey last night, and I'm hearing a lot of positive things.
Good.
Everybody seems to be happy, Arthur was really happy, the service line thing, they were all really happy about that, you know, that we're, tracking in phone calls now.
Well, that's a good thing, I'm glad to see that system.
Yeah,
It's been
other
a while,
than
been
that,
waiting on it.
I don't have anything else, just that, everybody seems to be, you know, pretty happy. I had a couple things I passed along with Dwayne already, with trees on the road and stuff like that, that's it.
What townships did you say, Bill?
I've been to Freeman, Arthur, and Surrey since last meeting. Trying to meet the new board members, I haven't met the new board.
Yeah,
members.
well, good.
Oh, and Arthur?
And it's really good, you know, you tell us it's up for election too, to get around to those townships, makes a big difference. But, they know who you are, and we'll continue to know, stay with it.
That's it. That's it.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Support?
Support. Thank you.
Meeting adjourned, thank you very much.
I'll need this put back in your stock.
Yes, I will put it back in there. And Dick, I need your signature.
Oh, yeah, you'll get it.
Are we off, Dwayne?